I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are doing a juicy topic with Jim Reed and Robyn LaVassaur today. And it's how to get buyers, borrowers, and listings from social media that actually close. This is the $10 billion question. So I've been working on this for 9 months now, and I'll give you a couple stats that blew me away as I started this back in February. One is our little buddies at Zillow. I never knew this. I asked Jim this question. I think it was Jim the other day. So 2012, so 10 years ago, Robyn, guess how much Zillow did in gross income? They're publicly traded, right? So you can see all their financials online. So guess how much gross income Zillow made to their business in 2012, and then guess what was last year?
2012. Gosh, I'm gonna just take a wild stab. 100 million and 20.
You got a good memory? I think you got a good memory.
No,
okay.
I'm guessing.
No, I told you this in our business planning session.
Oh, you did tell us it. I'm totally guessing, just so we're clear.
Okay, you're right. 116 million in 2012 was their gross company revenue. 116 million. Guess what it was last year, 10 years later?
I remember what I guessed, but I remember it was, just to help you out, it was 5 times more than I thought it was.
I feel like a trillion's too big, but I was going to say 1 trillion. That's too big. Let's go with 5 billion.
Okay, it was $8.1 billion.
What? In revenue?
In revenue. So that's companies paying to advertise on Zillow. That's mostly what that is. And realtors buying leads from Zillow, and loan officers buying leads from Zillow, right?
Got it.
So 100 million to 8.1 billion. 8.1 billion with a B. That is a huge, right? For references, that's a huge company. Okay. Wow. I mean, that blew me away. Now, the other stat I actually got from Robyn, and then I went and looked it up myself. So, Robyn, tell us, what's the average, consumption to share your consumption story, because that blew me away.
Yeah, I think so. The average human being consumes. So let's talk about what consumption is for a second. Quick scrolling on the phones, watching mindless television, consumption of what we would assume is media-based, right? Like eye-catching and or mind-numbing, if you will, information. And it's on average a little over 5 hours per day in consumption mode.
Dude, that's why my productivity went down when I hired all these young people. Just a joke.
Yeah, so to further that.
Like Facebooking and Instagramming and TikToking, but also texting and like just anything you're looking at the screen for.
Well, and you can look at it both ways, right? You can look at it from an aspect of, gosh, they're consuming that much, but from a business mindset, and I think this is where you're headed, Todd, so I'm excited to ask you questions about it. You start to think, if people are looking at something 5 hours a day, why not give them something to potentially look at that would generate revenue for the business? Is that where we're headed on this, my friend?
That's part of it. So if you break that down a little bit further, the recent studies is that the average American person spends 2 hours and 20 minutes a day on social media. I mean, I think we would all agree. I mean, I had one of my 45-year-old loan officers tell me that she gets all of her news from social media. We know how kids use it. Like my son last night, the football game is on. This is Sunday night. The football game is on.
Got a good one.
We're having dinner. He's watching it on his phone.
Yep.
Because that's how he's used to watching it.
Yep.
It's on the big screen. He's watching it on his small screen.
Drives me nuts.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Right. So, I mean, I think we all know that, hey, newspapers have been taking place with social media. Radio ads are now social media. So it's a thing, right? It's a big thing. And there's a lot of time and attention spent in it. So Robyn, what's your thoughts on this? Because I see so many people and they're like, oh my God, I could, I mean, like if we run a social media, like this will probably be our most popular podcast, of the year, because whenever you say anything, people are like, they kind of get it intuitively or viscerally, they get it. Like if I could ever figure that out, that would be a huge thing. I think also, when you look at Zillow and then you look at, the largest mortgage lender is an online lender. Rocket Mortgage is an online lender. Now, not so good right now, but for years they've been the number one lender. So it does work, is my point. It does not work.
That, Todd, and like as an originator, right? I'm a loan rep, and to be frank, I'm a little bit nervous about where the industry could be headed towards social media, and I don't know if it's reluctance. I think I would say reluctance, but it's my inability to understand how to use it effectively that makes me want to like run away from it. But when you're watching the Super Bowl and the World Series and they're sponsored by online lenders, there's got to be some revenue there, right?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of logical, right? But Jim, you hit the nail on the head. So I started thinking back in February, I'm like, okay, we're not going to do 8 or 10 years worth of loans in 2 years and be in a great market. Like it's going to be a poop show. And it has been, right? I mean, just to give you a general stat, the real estate market is about 20% less than 2018. For those that have been in the business for 10 plus years, 2018 outside of the mortgage meltdown was a very tough year. We're 20% below that. And we've got twice as many people in the industry that's necessary, right? So it's really hard, right? So people are looking for solutions. And then you take what Jim said, like, hey, how can we're loan officers. We work for private mortgage bankers, most of us. We don't have that kind of power. Or do we? Or could you? I talked to a loan officer the other day I interviewed. She has 68,000 realtor followers on social media, but she can't figure out how to turn it into a closing. Like one loan a month, maybe. I'm like, hey, you could turn that into 10, 20 loans a month, but she doesn't know how.
68,000 followers that are realtors?
Yeah.
Wow.
So how do you do it, Robyn? What's your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I think a couple things. I think that what you just said is kind of the current state of a ton of people on social media. And so you see a ton of, when you're friends with people in lending, i.e. you're a lender, you see all the different lenders on social media. You see all the different realtors on social media. You see your own clients, right? Friends, family, all of those things. What's interesting about it, Todd, that I think you're onto something there of a lot of people think, oh gosh, they said hi to me on social media. That's where I got that loan. It's here and there and it's hit and miss. But the problem is there's just enough maybe direct connection that people think that all of their efforts on social media is work, but really the results are minuscule at best for most people. And so I actually think if you could spend calculated time there for a more exponential result, it could change the game for a lot of people, because there is a great audience there. There are a ton of people there, but are we doing a good job of that? And I would say to date, at least from my angle, I think Jimmy'd say the same thing about his own. Like the answer is no. And so I have a feeling that you're going to come in and tell us that there's a better way or there's a smarter way. Just for anybody that doesn't know Todd Scrima, he is the king of, I see a concept that could work. Now I'm going to build a system and a plan to it that will change the game. And so I think that you've spent some time there, Todd, and I'm sure you've learned a whole bunch. I'm interested in hearing about it.
Yeah, Robyn's got some insider information. Jimmy has a little bit, but let's keep this high level for a second, because what Robyn said is people don't get results from it. We know because we actually coach people, and you just don't see the closings from it. So it's obviously a problem. I think we'd also agree it's an obvious opportunity.
Yes.
So what is the issue? I think the starting point is you've got to have some sort of USP that speaks to the result the client wants. So let me give you an example. I mean, most people know
USP.
Summit's
Now
USPs, huh?
Yeah, I was going to have you tell them what USP was. That's all.
Yeah, unique selling proposition. So Summit's is, hey, we're going to get you 5 more loans a month, 5 more purchase loans a month. And then the USP for a branch manager would, hey, you're going to double and triple your net income as a branch manager. How we say that is make $1 million a year as a branch manager, right? So to a realtor, it would be, we're going to make you another 75,000 to 100 grand a year in income by using Summit. Okay, so those are pretty compelling. So but they don't have to be. That doesn't have to be yours. There's people that have whether they're realtors or loan officers, and we're combining this one. So this podcast is meant for both. That have specialized in, say, veterans, and there's some that are first-time home buyers. So I'm not saying you shouldn't try and copy other people's USPs. But you do what you should copy is, hey, what does that client really want? What do they really want? Like, and I'll use this as an example, and this is not hopefully not disrespectful to loan officers on the call, but
I'll let you know.
loan officers be like, Todd, I don't get it. Let's say Robyn's my realtor. I did business with Robyn for the last 3 years, and now she won't return my calls. Like, I busted my butt. We just closed a loan, and I had to pull out every rabbit in the hat, and I worked my tail off, and now she won't even return my calls, and I consider her a friend, and I'm so offended. Well, what happened was, every time I've ran into that, and it hurts my feelings to admit this, is some other sneaky loan officer went to Robyn, the realtor, and said, hey, Robyn, I've got something that's going to make you a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And because Robyn is 100% commission, she tries them.
Yep.
Because what do people care about?
Success, their growth, themselves.
Yes.
And their families, hopefully.
Themselves. We are in 100% commission business. What we care about is ourselves. Now, after that comes another layer of, hey, we care about the clients, we care about people, all this, but none of that, like 99%.
Fully exclusive, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you can go help more people, you are going to do things that are in your best interest. That's not at hurting other people, but it's saying like, hey, we are in this it's your business, right? You're going to do things that are based on that.
Yeah, it has to come without judgment, Todd, because loan officers get frustrated about that with realtor partners, but they would do the same thing.
Yes.
100%.
And so, like, can we just set that aside and not act holier than thou? We'd all do whatever is best for ourselves and our families.
Amen.
I mean, if I was a realtor and Jim Reed came to me and said, hey, I'm going to get you another closing a month, guaranteed. I'm like, sign me up, buddy. Yep. I have no clue if Jim is good at doing loans. If he just started, all I hear is commissions, because that's my job. Right. It's not like people want to say, oh, you're selfish or whatever. Well, yeah, you're 100% commission. You got to get paid. And when you're in a desperate market, people are even more desperate. Right. So it's even more important to get paid because everyone's pay has gone down.
Yeah.
So the question is to the audience, how do you craft a message that is what they are focused on?
They being the listing or the buyer or the borrower, right?
Yes. And we don't have to answer it now, but let me give you a couple examples.
I'm ready for your answer. I'm ready.
If you're, at some point in Amazon's creation, someone in the boardroom said, I got it. Any product, any consumer product delivered to your house within a few days with no shipping. Someone said that. And someone was like, you're crazy. You're talking about we're going from books to every product, almost every consumer product you can think of. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Now that sounds bold and crazy, and right. It's like FedEx is, if it absolutely positively needs to get there overnight, use FedEx, right? Yeah. When I was growing up, that was a popular thing, made them a lot of money, right? Because they were giving the client what they needed. So yeah, it cost $20 to ship overnight, a piece of paper, but I needed the paper there in 24 hours. I need my Q-tips in 12 hours, right? I need baby bottles in 2 days. Like, I don't have time to go to the grocery store. What would you guys guess in Tesla's boardroom, what did they say one day? Who wants to take a crack at that one? I don't know the answer, but we can guess.
Well, I think the problems they decided to solve was gas, disappearing, environmental, right? Perception, if you will, or reality. That's not a political statement. I'm just saying that out loud. So environmental, and then little bit of that hands-free, right? Like the future of a car. And then the last one, as you always say, Todd. So this is a precursor, fast like a Ferrari, right? Like super duper fast. So gonna save you money, get you there where you need to go in a short amount of time. Like it's what you want an automobile to do.
It answered the younger generation is much more sensitive to environmental issues. So it answered that question. You drive around a big diesel truck with big smokestack, it is the complete opposite.
Yeah, totally agree. Robyn, I think, this is my guess. I think this is basically what you said. I'm like, we're going to build a car that's really sleek and sexy. Like it's visually very appealing. It's got the latest technology. It never needs gas. And it's faster than a Ferrari. So what's funny is that this is a true story. Jim knows this couple. This is about 2 years ago. This Greek family comes over to my house, and Grandpa, who I kind of know, I've met several times. He's from Greece. He lives in America, super successful business guy, brings his grandson over. And I walk outside and I'm like, oh, you got a Tesla? And he's all, yeah. And it's 80-something-year-old man. He's like, yeah, get in. You want me to go for a drive? He says, yeah, you gotta get in. Okay. So I get in because I'd never been in one. And we get off onto the open road and he punches it to the floor. Cheeks are back, right? I'm like, whoa, like a rocket ship. He looks at me with these crazy eyes. He says, it's faster. True story. So every time I talk to a guy about the Tesla, it's about how fast it is. Every time I talk to the wife, in general, it's about saving the planet and not needing gas. It's a USP. Now, they made up 10% of all car sales in California last year. 10%. So they've taken a big bite out of car manufacturers.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Good USP. Now, so let's dig deeper on online.
How do I get paid as a loan rep online? That's what I want to know.
That's what I want to know.
Okay.
Well, it's not a simple answer. So I've spent 9 months and 2 professional coaches helped me with this. But instead of just me giving you the answer, let me ask you a question. What is the second part to a sale? So we've got initial contact. So maybe that's like good USP, really good ad. What's
Build
number
rapport.
2?
Rapport.
Trust.
Yes. The trust building process, rapport, however you want to phrase it. They have to get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
The missing component to everyone's confusion with this, what I've discovered, is they need a chance to get to know you. And if they don't do that, an ad is not enough to get them to call. It's a very small thing, but it's super important. So I'll give an example. We've got a bunch of things that are coming out, 4 different strategies coming out in January and February of 2023. And they're all designed around getting using social media. So I'll be super direct with you guys. I didn't think it would work. Like I did my research and all this stuff, but I'm like, I don't know if it'll work. So this is just one test we just finished last month. So we ran an ad. We had 91,000 people watch the ad. Let me pause for a second. We spent $3,000 total in a month. $3,000. 91,000 people viewed it. Not scrolled through it. Watched it. Video ad. 1 minute video ad. Okay. 91,000 people. 910 clicked below and said, hey, I'm interested. I want to watch the masterclass. Now, these masterclasses are 30 minutes long. I thought, no way people are going to spend 30 minutes. No way. But because I won't do it doesn't mean they don't do it. So out of 91,000, we had 910 watch a whole 30-minute presentation. Now, out of those 910, 86 wanted a application and wanted to do business.
Wow.
Now, the numbers are big. 91,000, 910, 86. But, Jimmy, if we were to go to a realtor and say, hey, we got 86 listings for you, would that be a good day?
Yeah, I was just taking a note. I have a really good idea for this. Okay. That would be a really good idea.
And you think what's the typical pull through, Todd, of what do they just say an online lead in general? Just pay for a lead, get a name and a phone number. What's the typical?
Right around 1%. Like when you, I know some executives say at some of these companies that we're talking about that do online lending, it's about 1%. Some are half, some are 0.7, some are 1.3, but if you want a round number, it's 1%.
Got it.
Right?
So
it's not more.
But
it's
what's
1% or less? It's definitely not more, right?
No. So what's the opportunity? This is important. Like we can't compete with some of these. We're not going to compete with Zillow. We're not going to compete with a regular realtor, a regular loan officer, a regular mortgage company. Even though we're mid-sized, we don't have their spend. We're not publicly traded. I can't go out and spend $1 billion in a year on advertising. But what advantage do we have?
Well, I don't know if this is the answer you're looking for, but what I'm sitting here thinking in the note I wrote down is there's a movement to use the internet more and more, right? For banking, especially for loans. And so the opportunity, it seems to me while you're talking, and it just is hitting me, is to be the relationship-driven online lender.
Bingo.
I hit a home run, Robyn. I did.
Home run.
I did it, Robyn. I did it, Robyn.
I feel like you guys planned this.
So here's what I wrote down. A video, so vision this, Todd, a video of me doing a consultation with a couple. And we do the whole consultation and they watch it and they ask me the most common questions the couple does, and I answer them so that the person watching the video sees it and it feels to them like they're having a consultation. Uh-huh. That's not a home run? That's not as big of a home run, Robyn. I thought that was a big home run.
Let me explain that.
Okay, let's keep going.
Let me explain that. So this is a great example. This is one of my mentors telling me this. Todd, I've been honest on this podcast. I used to have a lot of anxiety and I wanted to get better at it. So he used this actual example and it really made an impression on me. So he says, Todd, back when you had anxiety, you had two choices. What were they? And I said, well, I think I could learn to go to therapy and meditate, right? Or probably take a pill like Xanax.
Drink.
He says, you're exactly right. He says, so let me prove this to you. We're working on a concept I'm going to give you in a second. So he says, he says, meditation and, Headspace apps and stuff that I use, it's like $8 a month. It was like it was like $300 or $400 million, gross revenue for the United States. Like it's not a big sector. And I said, well, I would agree with that. Then he pulled up the sales for Xanax. And he's it was like 12 billion or something. It was billions and billions of dollars. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I believe those numbers, right? He says, why? And I said, I don't know, because I personally, I wouldn't want to take a drug if I could fix it homeopathically or do some meditation or something. He says, well, that's what you chose to do, but you're not the normal consumer. Most people want it now.
Path of least resistance.
And so when you market and brand and advertise to people, they look at it, their equation is what's the value I'm getting divided by the time that it takes. What's the value divided by the time that it takes? And if Xanax will get me my result in 10 minutes and meditation is 2 years, 97% of people will choose Xanax. That blew my head. So there's a few things. Let me summarize because we got to wrap up. You've got, okay, we understand it's a big opportunity. Jim hit the nail on the head in that if you can build rapport over the internet, a certain percentage of them will come to you. I've proven it. I've got 4 different strategies rolling out. One of them's for realtors, one of them's for loan officers, one of them for branch managers, one of them for clients. I've done enough test marketing on this. It blew my head. The other thing is there's a lot to the marketing and branding and advertising side that is important. It's like Robyn, I've got this story. So I'm going through on-campus interviews and I did some mortgage company interviews. And Robyn, why do you think I chose to get in the mortgage business 30 years ago?
Because
if we're being super honest, what was I about?
Yeah, if we're being super direct, it was probably that you got to be your own boss, if you will, in a way, and to make a bunch of money.
I wanted to make a ton of money now.
Yes.
And I remember this was the clincher. This is how the guy closed me. He says, "What?" I said, "How hard is it to do 10 loans a month?" And back then that would mean I'd make about 10 grand a month. That was like the Shangri-La 30 years ago. And he says, "I got one guy doing it that's a year out of college." I said, "I want to meet him. I want to mentor under him. I want to follow him around," because my whole goal was to make 10 grand a month. Now, the truth is it took a lot of time and effort and studying and all that stuff. But I was attracted to the almost not get rich quick, but it was that's how I was viewing it. That's why I took action. So then the other thing is building the rapport through the process. So if you want more info, guys, I'm throwing out ideas. This is very, very like groundbreaking kind of stuff that I'm shocked people haven't figured it out. I'm literally shocked. I'm literally shocked that it works. And I'm literally shocked that more people haven't figured it out. Shocked. Okay. So if you want an example of this, you're a loan officer, you're a realtor, you want to find out, hey, what is this all about? The best thing I can do is just send you an example, because you would watch an ad, you would watch the masterclass, and it would totally click. For anyone I've shown it to, they're like, I get it, makes total sense. Yeah. Right. So if you want something like that, reach out to us. Whoever sent you this, we will send you an example of, hey, this is what it looks and feels like. And then you can watch it, and I think it will make sense. But you can use these strategies in 10,000 different ways. Yep. I'm using it 4, but you could go crazy.
Yeah, yes. So this is a cool first step. Can we do the same exact topic, but the second half of it on our next podcast? Where we can get some more detail, maybe a little bit. So that if they were to call and get the content, right? They're gonna reach out and they're gonna get content from you, but we could discuss the content and help people take another step towards making this work for their business.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a lot, and that's why I say, we could go on and on for. I feel like I could teach a class for about a week on this stuff because I was so skeptic. I was so like, no way is this going to work. I interviewed one person before I signed up for this one coach, and she does this. She uses it for her business, and she's I forgot the term she uses, but it's like a. What do you call it? She helps people who are super obese. So she specializes in people that
dietitian.
Yeah, that she's a doctor that need to lose 50 or more pounds. And she started doing this just about 2 years ago. She's making about 100 grand a year doing her job. So hard to get a doctor's degree and make 100 grand a year. She's making 180,000 a month using these strategies. 180,000 a month.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. So I've got story after story like that. So, but she followed the same format and she got really good at it. So it's a process. There's a lot of value there, but it's kind of like the next thing that can really help people get a lot of business. I want to say this, not changing anything you're doing now. So if you're a realtor or loan officer, I'm not saying don't beat the streets. I'm not saying don't be relational. That's where everyone gets this wrong. We're going to do this to form more relationships in a relationship manner.
Yes.
We're not becoming Zillow. We're not becoming Quicken. That's not what we're doing. This is massive expansion of relationship selling. And that's one of the big reasons that it works. And it's the opportunity that no one can copy except for people like you. Does that make sense?
It's another club in the bag, right?
Yeah, it's a couple clubs in the bag, but yes, it definitely is. So,
Sure.
guys, I hope that this gave you some information, and we kind of volleying this around. Maybe we'll do phase 2 next month. So stay tuned with that. But if we can help you with some of these things, you click on this. Contact whoever got you on, however you got this. We'll find a way to get you some of this content so that you can experience it, and then we don't. Our big thing is, right. I'm here to support Summit and to do this for our loan officers and do it for a very select number of realtors that Summit works with. So this is not. I mean, I'm not big enough to do this for everybody, but I certainly will talk about it and help you along the way as we go through this. But if you're interested in those things, reach out to us. We'll get you some examples and take it from there. Robyn and Jim, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys. And guys, if you're a realtor, make sure you're sending your loans to Summit Funding, please. We really appreciate it. Things are kind of hard over here. It's been a rough year. We've been a little beat up, and we need to have a great 2023. Okay. Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great day.